Okay, so we continue factoring the binomials. This time, we're going to look at what are called the sums and differences of two cubes. Now, just want to remind you that these notes are already filled out in their entirety on the My Math Lab. Go to the notes for test 3 and find the document that says factoring binomials. This is the one I handed out in class on Wednesday. This is the middle of page 3. Be sure that you uh, look over the beginning of page 3 where it shows the first 9 perfect cubes. Make sure you commit those to memory as well. So I want to start in with the factorization formula for the sum and difference of two cubes. First of all, just want to point something out to you here. If if your binomial can be written with a plus sign in the form a cubed plus b cubed, then it is called a sum of two cubes. If your binomial can be written in the form a cubed minus b cubed, then it is called a difference of two cubes. So we have a factorization formula similar to the factorization formula for the difference of two squares. Now it's going to be called the sum of two cubes and the factorization for the difference of two cubes. But both of these factorization formulas can be all written in terms of one formula. Okay, so let's talk about the formula here. So no matter if you have a cubed plus b cubed or you have a cubed minus b cubed, they're going to factor using the same formula. So the first thing you got to do is you got to figure out the base that you got to cube to give you the a cube. Well, it's a. So what you're going to do, you're going to put some parentheses. You're going to put base a right here. This is the quantity that you got to cube to give you the a cube. And then you take and you put b right in here. And b is the quantity you got to cube to give you the b cube. Okay, so look at the formula. Look what the formula says. Whatever sign you start with here, you're going to drop the same sign right in between these two bases. Then what you do, you open up another set of parentheses, and notice that the last set of parentheses has a trinomial. So let's see how the terms go in the trinomial. Well, you take this base, whatever it is, a, and you're going to square it to get the first term. Then you take base a and base b and you multiply them together to give you the middle term. Then finally you take the base b and you square it to get the third term of this trinomial. Now let's look at the signs, how the signs work. Well, whatever sign you have right here, which is the same as the original one, this sign is going to be opposite this first sign. So whatever you start with here, this one over here will be opposite. Then the formula says that this sign is always plus. Okay, so there's the formula. To factor a cubed plus or minus b cubed, I find the base a that I got to cube to give me a cubed. Find the base b that I have to cube to give me b cubed, and I enclose those in parentheses. Open another set of parentheses. Take base a, square it. Take base a and base b and multiply them together. Square base b. Then the signs go, this first one will be the same as the original sign. This one will be opposite the original sign. And the last one will always be plus. Now, let's use this factorization formula and look at the examples that are here. So the first one is 8x cubed minus 27y cubed. So like I said, the first thing we have to do is take the 8 cube here and express it as explicitly as a perfect cube. Well, what do I have to cube to give me 8? If you look at the list on the very top of this page, it's 2. What do I have to cube to give me x cubed? That's x. So this right here, the 2x, is playing the role of a. So I do the same thing for the 27y cubed. 27y cubed, what do I have to cube to give me 27? 3. What do I have to cube to give me y cubed? Is y. So this is playing the role of b. So I'm going to take this quantity that's playing the role of a, this quantity that's playing the role of b, and I'm going to substitute both of those into this half of the formula over here. So base a just comes straight down. Look, notice how it's got parentheses right here. So bring base a. Here's base B. Here's the end of the parentheses right there. And as the formula says, this first sign is the same as the original. So notice how this minus sign just drops straight in here, the minus sign there. Now, I put some square brackets on this, and I take base A, because look at the formula says take base A and square it. I wrote it up here. But base A is 2x, and you got to square it. That's why there's a 2 right there. See, I wrote 8 squared above it. Then the middle term says A times B. So here's base A, here's base B. So I multiply those together. Then finally, I take base B, which is 3y, and I square it. Now let's get the signs. Notice that the signs, the formula said that this sign, the middle sign of the trinomial, has to be opposite the original. Well, the original and this one are the same. So all I have to do is look at this sign right here, and I put the opposite. So notice it's got opposite sign sitting right here. This one is always plus. So now it's just a matter of, I just bring this down as 2x minus 3y. Now I got to multiply out 2x quantity squared. 2x quantity squared, 2 times 2 gives me that 4 right here. X times x gives me the x squared that's sitting right here. Now go over to the middle term. 2x times 3y. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. There's the 6 right here. And then x times y gives me the xy, the middle term. Finally, the 3y quantity squared, 3 times 3 is 9. Y times y is y squared, which is sitting right there. So notice that I put in some square brackets on this intermediate step right in here. Then when I'm ready to multiply the 2x quantity squared, the 2x times the 3y, and the 3y quantity squared, I changed the square brackets to parentheses right in here. So there's the factorization of this little binomial. 8x cubed minus 27y cubed factors into 2x minus 3y. Notice that it's in parentheses. And in parentheses again, I have the trinomial 4x squared plus 6xy plus 9y squared. Now, with practice, this is what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to start with this problem right here, memorize that factorization formula, maybe go to this step right here, and then from there, once you figure out base A and base B, you want to be able to fall right into that line right here without doing this intermediate step. With practice, after you see a couple of examples worked out, you'll see that it is possible to go from here straight down to there. Okay, let's take a look at the second example. The second example is 125x cubed plus 64y cubed. First thing I do, again, I find base A. Find the quantity I got to cube to give me 125x cubed. Well, that's 5x. So that's playing the role of A. So this is your A right here. Now I got to find the quantity that I got to cube to give me 64y cubed, and that turns out to be 4y. So 4y is playing the role of B. That's your B right there. Okay, so now let's throw it into the formula. So I take base A, and I put it right in here. Take base B, put it right here. The formula says right up here, go back to the formula. This sign is the same as the original. So notice that this plus sign just drops straight right into there. Okay, so now going to the trinomial, I got some square brackets here, put some parentheses, and I take base A, which is 5x, and I square it. Here's base A times base B. Finally, this is base B squared. And again, let's get the signs. The formula says that this sign right here should be opposite the original. The original was plus, so this one's minus. The formula says that the last one is always plus. So now it's just a simple matter of multiplying. I rewrite the 5x plus 4y. Here it is. And then 5x times 5x is this one right here, the 25y squared. Notice there's a minus sign here. 5x times 4y is 20xy, always plus, and then I go with 4y quantity squared, which is 16y squared. There it is. Again, like I said, what you want to be able to do is go from this line right here. It is worth it doing the second line, but you want to be able to go from this line straight down to that one there. Okay, so we'll practice some more. You do the two examples that are on top of page 4. They're already filled out, but you should try to do them on your own on your copy of the handout.